Welcome to Formula World. I'm your host Dylan Shelley, and here's what's on this episode. First up on Formula World, Verstappen makes Vettel and Hamilton nervous. Red Bull's Max Verstappen is seen by many in F1 as a bona fide future world champion. Some even feel he is as good, if not better, than reigning champion Lewis Hamilton and former champion Sebastian Vettel. Max's father and former F1 driver Jos Verstappen gave his insights on what makes his son special. Max always drives at the edge. That's what people want to see. Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton get a bit nervous when he drives behind them. Isn't that nice? Former F1 CEO Bernie Ecclestone added to that by explaining how Lewis Hamilton's success is dependent on his team, and how someone like Max could get even better results if he had an equally successful team behind him. He delved into this while revealing his pick for the best drivers currently racing in F1. You would automatically say Lewis, but there are other guys who would do a job as good as or better than him in the same team? Probably yes. Max, 100%. Certainly Sebastian, although he's gone off a little bit. All these guys are as good as the support they get. Lewis has got the maximum support. There's not one thing missing from what he's got behind him. Jos concluded by explaining why it is a good thing that Max is already re-signed with Red Bull given the current situation. If you have to negotiate a new contract in this situation, it distracts you. We are very happy at Red Bull, and I really think we are closer to it this year than we were last season, but we'll see. Why Sainz is more likely to replace Vettel at Ferrari than Ricciardo. Before the F1 world came to a standstill, many F1 experts had suggested that 2020 would be a crucial year for Ferrari Sebastian Vettel, as his expiring contract meant that he would have to prove his worth to his team after a somewhat lackluster 2019. With racing yet to resume, many in F1 feel that the contract situation is now out of Vettel's control. Former F1 driver turned media personality Paul di Resta spoke about Vettel's current plight and the possibility of him staying on at Ferrari. Sebastian, if he's on form, I think you'd love to see him in there, but if he's not, I think there's a few people lining up out of contract who Ferrari could equally grab. I don't think he has anything to say when it comes to this decision. He will have to accept what they give him, and that may even mean that he is out. Former F1 driver turned analyst Karun Chandok added to that by looking at the scenario where Ferrari re-signed Vettel and how it wouldn't be for a contract as lucrative as his last one. I wouldn't be surprised if he has to hand in a large part of his salary. You don't have to pay him that much. He concluded by explaining why McLaren's Carlos Sainz is a better bet than Renault's Daniel Ricciardo for Ferrari, were they to look for a replacement for Vettel. Danny Ric has had his chance on a top team. Carlos hasn't had his chance yet. Fast feed. Former F1 boss Bernie Ecclestone thinks that Ferrari's brand is so strong that they could walk away from F1 and still be huge. He also feels that Mercedes' Lewis Hamilton is in a position where he can speak out and wake up a few people, which pleases him. Lewis Hamilton followed that up by pointing out the overall lack of diversity in F1 both among the drivers and among the engineers and mechanics. His teammate Valtteri Bottas hopes that if they were going to race without fans, it is broadcast in such a way that everyone can watch the races on television. Former F1 driver Jos Verstappen can't imagine that there will still be racing in Zandvoort this year. He is also convinced that there's definitely going to be some racing elsewhere in 2020, as a year without it is impossible. He also jokingly added that reporters not being allowed at race circuits will be an advantage for Max, as he won't have to give so many interviews. Mario Isola of Pirelli has revealed that the banking at the Zandvoort circuit in the Netherlands is something new, something exciting, but also tricky because the tyres are under extra pressure. He also confirmed that F1 cars would still be able to drive on the normal tyre with a higher pressure for the banked turns at Zandvoort. Formula E has confirmed that the London e-prix has been cancelled as the venue has been prepared as a temporary hospital. Williams driver George Russell feels that if people are going to make mistakes, it's going to be in the opening few races after the break and wants to make sure that he is not one of them. Dutch Grand Prix sporting director Jan Lammers has revealed that many race circuits are offering to host the race for free in 2020 so that they can get back on the calendar at a reduced rate in the future. Formula E president Alejandro Agag feels that they could be out of action for a short time and that the inactivity could last for as long as 6 months to 3 years. Renault's Daniel Ricciardo won't pick up sim racing as he feels that his training sessions are more productive. And former F1 world champion Mika Hakkinen feels that the cameramen have to be really smart on how they show races without an audience. Does F1 lack diversity? Be sure to vote in the poll and let me know what you think in the comments. And if you like this video, feel free to subscribe and check out my others for all the latest in the world of Formula 1.